folks. Let's talk costuming here at Blanc Mortuary. So over the years, I've been different characters and scary things. So when I first started Blanc Mortuary, the backstory was a vampire had attacked the owners of the mortuary, so they themselves became vampires. So this was the first costume that my wife made for me. Probably can't wear it today because everyone's just going to think I'm Hamilton or a character from Hamilton. So I haven't worn it in a while. And then the costume that I wear more often than not is this one, which is more of a butler's kind of outfit. Just black slacks, nice shoes, top hat, bow tie. Again, another costume my wife made. And then to the scariest costume in my book is any of my witch costumes. So this is more of a kind of a rough backwoods witch. Has the long draping sleeves. The material is really kind of a black burlap nastiness. And then it has this rope belt that I wear, and I have all these big metal keys that jangle when I move. And then this is a traditional witch costume. It's actually Wizard of Oz based. It's two pieces. It has the top and then it has the skirt. And it's got the sleeves, puffy sleeves, and the straps and everything, just like Margaret Hamilton. And then this is just your traditional witch costume. Just the black dress and a capelet. And then this one's more of a fancy version. The top has a lot of lace and everything. It took my wife quite a bit to make it. She said the pattern was complicated. Of course, it's complicated because you got to make it to fit me. Here, turn it around. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I'm usually the witch character for like trunk or treats and stuff. I'm not usually the witch for Blanc Mortuary because it doesn't really fit with the theme, but definitely a scary character. Kids can identify it immediately. They're like, oh my goodness, a witch. And I know they get excited about it because, Walt Disney said people like to be scared, and I will scare the snot out of these kids as this witch character. Just like my dad scared my brother and I when we were little. Witches are still scary to me. They're just terrifying. But that is, oh, I have this, my wife had this material. So it's a witch costume in and of itself. I thought it would be kind of different and unique. But that's the mini costumes that I own and some of the characters that I play to scare the snot out of people when they either come to the house or at a trunk or treat that I happen to be at.
We'll start this off with the Death Witch by Be Something Studios. My wife made the costume it was like a black burlap material that made it really nasty. And of course I'm wearing a rope belt that really kind of fit the whole scene and everything. Definitely kind of a creepy farmhouse type witch, swamp witch kind of thing. Backwoods. Kind of reminds me of the Pumpkinhead Witch in that movie. Still have this costume. Love it. We'll still wear it to the trunk or treats and whatnot that we have in our neighborhood. It's definitely a good one. So here's the same costume, but I'm wearing a Death Studios green, the Swamp Witch from Legend mask. I didn't like the brown hair, so I took it off and I put on like an orange rope style hair on it. Definitely makes this character way creepy. And the kids are just terrified, especially the moms. And here I'm wearing the same costume at one of our trunk or treats. And really all I have to do is just sit there, and when the kids reach for candy, I just reach out and grab them, and they just lose their minds. And I do cackle, but I don't speak. You don't really have to speak when you're wearing this, because witches are just understandably seen as terrifying. I mean, they terrify me. And here's the costume my wife made. This is based on the Wicked Witch of the West. It's a new hat using the Death Studios green Swamp Witch mask. everything. And I have the big green nasty hands that I wear with it, and I built a broom with it and everything. And that was definitely, yet again, more scary witch. So this costume, we found this material that she had, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to go outside the box. This plaid's kind of an ugly. It's like, is it always black? Do witches always wear black dresses? No. So I kind of went with this one year just to see how it would work. And again, I'm wearing the flesh toned Death Studio Swamp Witch mask, and it was a good pleaser. Lots of kids screamed and whatnot. And here I am again, but this time I'm wearing the all black. I'm at another trunk or treat, and that's my child there, and we won best trunk or treat. I have a Jeep Wrangler, so I don't really have a trunk. So again, the Death Studios Swamp Witch, the more flesh colored, and the black outfit scared a lot of kids. Good times. And then this is my butler mortician outfit that I wear now. Kind of a ghost spirit character of sorts, and I can do my maniacal laugh when the kids knock on the door for their candy, and it's a lot more comfortable to wear than wearing a mask. So in it, again, I can scare a few folks, moms and kids. And then this is the vampire outfit, I guess inspired by the Interview with the Vampire, that era. And then that's my wife. We're in front of the funeral carriage that I built. And this was actually from a photo shoot from a French magazine. And really, these costumes are great. I still own them. I love them. And I still wear them.
All right, folks, let's talk masks. So I have a small mask collection, mostly of witches, because witches terrify, they just scare me to death. Probably because my father would dress up as a witch when my brother and I were really, really small, and he would scare us as well. So this is the first one I remember him that he wore, and he would wear these big green rubber hands and the traditional black robe and pointy black hat and everything. But this is a Topstone mask from anywhere from the late 60s to the early 80s. They made these. Definitely still scares the snot out of me, even though it's just this silly rubber mask. This mask, I can't remember where I got this from. I think someone just gave it to me, but I kind of like it. Kind of like the old man. I think it might be a vampire mask, but it's kind of hard to tell. I feel like I should use it somewhere, but I'm just not sure yet. And then this is another Be Something Studios, which is now Zagoni Studios. I just like this one a lot because it kind of has a Wicked Witch of the West kind of feel to it. I have yet to wear it and scare kids with it yet. So back to what my father would wear. After this Topstone wore out, he actually switched over to a prosthetic style mask made by this company called The Face. And I've yet to find one anywhere because I have been trying to collect the masks that he wore. But after the one he wore that was called The Face finally wore out, he got this one. And this one's by Be Something Studios, and it is called Wicked Witch. So he wore this one for a while, and the rubber wears out, and it just falls to pieces. So then he switched over to Be Something Studios Death Witch, which I still think he actually has one. I'm not sure if he dresses up anymore, probably not. But of course, I collected one because he wore it. And then there was this other version, this kind of a brown tone. I kind of like it as well. And I dress up as a witch too, just because witches are terrifying. They really are. I usually dress up as a witch, not for Blanc Mortuary, but for our neighborhood trunk or treat. And the kids, they won't even come up. They're like, forget it. Not even going close to anything. The candy's not worth it. But I ran across Death Studios, and I picked up their green Swamp Witch. I didn't like the brown hair on there, so I swapped it out with this orange rope-like hair. And here you can kind of see the burlap style pointy Wicked Witch hat. And I've worn this a bunch for a while. And then of course occasionally I'm the Grim Reaper, and I do have a Reaper scythe, like I bought it at some farm thing. It's pretty cool. And this is a Death Studios mask. And then of course I have the other Swamp Witch that has more of a flesh tone with a much bigger and more pronounced standard Wicked Witch hat. Definitely cool. And these characters, these witches, just really any of them that I wear have just, kids will lock up. They're like, forget it, it's not happening. And their moms too. Their moms will freak out. So back to my dad and things like that. So back in the day, you know, people owned these big cabinet stereos that had like an 8 track and a record player and a reel to reel thing in it. We had one in our house, big cabinet stereo, and my dad would put this on. This record has some of the best wolf howls you could ever hope to listen to and use. They're more accurate, they don't sound silly. And so I use this on occasion. And you can still hear these sounds if you're familiar with this particular LP. I hear it in new productions to this day. If they need a wolf howl, almost all the time it is snipped from this LP. I recognize it immediately. And then there's this other LP my dad used to play on the big stereo by what is it? Let me see. I think it's D. Oh yeah, D Records, which I think is based in Houston. It's called Glad Albums or something now. I'm not sure. But this record has some of the best Wicked Witch cackles and goblins and stuff. It doesn't, not the usual typical 70s, 80s silly LPs like some of the other ones that were out during the time that are just like more silly than scary. This record actually terrorized me as a kid, and I would be afraid to, like, if my dad left the record on the record player, I would unplug the big stereo because I was afraid it would come on in the middle of the night. It was just one of those things. And then every year I actually carve a jack-o'-lantern with this face. There's just something about this jack-o'-lantern style that just speaks epic Halloween to me. It's just, this is, for me, this is Halloween. Other people, they like some of the silly stuff. For me, Halloween is just this: witches and ghosts and goblins and scary flying skull things. So yeah, this is my small witch collection, witch mask. And I'm always on the lookout for others, but they're just really very rarely are there decent witch masks that just evoke pure terror. They're caricatures and they're just silly, and I don't really care for them. I don't understand why witches today they make them so silly. So I'm not a fan of those masks and I don't collect them. But I'm sure other people enjoy those. But yeah, this is my mask collection.